At the beginning of the story, we see Japan's Queen Himiko trying to destroy her entire kingdom with dark magic. To save the nation, the generals rose up against her. They captured her and abandoned her on a remote island, far away from any civilization. Years later, Lord Richard Croft discovered an old map that pointed to the island where Himiko had been left. He left his daughter behind in London and set off alone to find Himiko. 7 years have passed since then, and now grown up, Lara was fighting in an MMA match. Her opponent was too strong and soon locked her in a chokehold. Lara fought hard to break free but eventually had no choice but to tap out. Since her father's disappearance, Lara had been surviving on odd jobs. One day, Anna, her father's former business partner, came to see her. Anna told her, "You don't need to struggle for money like this. Your father left a lot behind for you." But Lara didn't want anything from her father. Richard had vanished 7 years ago, had gone missing. So Anna told Lara, "Look, you need to sign the papers so we can officially declare Richard dead. If you don't, all his property will be sold off and you won't get anything." That evening, Lara started thinking about her father. Before he left, Richard had given her a necklace that once belonged to her mother. He had said, "If you hold this necklace and think of someone, they will somehow know you're thinking of them." The next day, Lara went to the Croft Holdings building to sign the documents that would declare her father dead. Before Lara could sign, the lawyer handed her a puzzle that Richard had left behind, called Kalakuri. Lara solved the puzzle and discovered a hidden letter and a key inside. The letter read, "The first word of my final place." Lara understood right away. She went to her father's grave. There she pressed the first letter of his name, R. This revealed a hidden slot for a key. When she placed the key in and turned it, a secret door opened on the other side of the grave. Behind it was Richard's hidden office. Inside, Lara found some fake passports. Lara also found an old video camera that contained a message from Richard. He explained that after his wife died, he searched for a way to reunite with her in the afterlife. That's why he started working on Project Himiko. He asked Lara to destroy all of his research on the project, because if it fell into the wrong hands, it could cause a disaster. Lara also found a box labeled Himiko, but instead of burning it, she began reading and exploring its contents. She learned about Himiko and the island of Yamatai, where the queen had been imprisoned. Lara discovered from her father's notes that Richard had planned to go to Yamatai, and she even found the name of the captain who was supposed to take him there. Because she hadn't signed the death certificate, she still hadn't received any inheritance, so she sold her jade necklace and used the money to travel to Hong Kong. While searching for the ship's captain, a group of boys tricked her by pretending to help, then stole her bag. Lara ran across boats to catch them, but they jumped onto one that started sailing away. Lara ran through the market and managed to reach the boat. When the boys got off, she caught one of them. He had her bag. The boy pulled out a knife to scare her, but Lara swung across to the other side using a hook. That's when she finally spotted the ship she had been looking for, the Endurance. But the boys came after her again and soon surrounded her. Luckily, the ship's captain, Lu Ren, appeared and fired a warning shot, scaring them off. He then told Lara to leave the area quickly. But Lu had drunk too much and passed out, falling off the ship. Lara splashed water on him to wake him up and showed him a letter from her father, asking if he knew anything about Richard. Lu said, "My dad's name is also Lu. Maybe your father talked to him." Then he admitted his own father was also missing. Turns out, both their fathers vanished on the same journey. Lara explained that both men were headed to Yamatai. She had found some strange codes in her father's journal. The codes hinted at where their fathers might have gone. Lu figured out the codes looked like clock hands. Using this idea, Lara pinpointed the island's possible location on the map. Lu warned her it was an extremely dangerous place. He said he didn't really care about his father, but later, after seeing an old childhood photo with his dad, he had second thoughts. Lara noticed some items lying around and guessed that Lu had lost money gambling the night before, so she offered him. Lara offered Lu a large sum of money and he agreed to help. Together they set sail for Yamatai Island. While reading her father's journal on the way, Lara found an Asian puzzle among Richard's belongings. From it, she learned that Queen Himiko was sealed behind a locked door, and Richard had discovered how to open it. Reaching Himiko's resting place on the island wouldn't be easy. They would have to overcome several dangerous challenges. Meanwhile, an organization had been keeping an eye on Richard during this mission. The group was called the Order of Trinity, a secret organization that wanted to control humanity using supernatural powers. Richard feared that if they ever got access to Queen Himiko's power, nothing would stop them. One night, Lara woke up to a violent storm shaking the ship. She rushed to the bridge where Lu was struggling to steer. They were already very close to Yamatai Island, but massive waves kept slamming the ship, throwing it off course. Lu told Lara they needed to abandon the ship immediately. Lara ran back to her cabin to grab Richard's diary, but she accidentally left the ancient puzzle behind. Just then, the ship crashed into a massive rock, and Lara was thrown overboard. The storm separated her from Lu. She managed to swim to the island, where she saw that she wasn't alone. Others were already there. Before she could react, someone struck her, knocking her out. When she woke up the next day, she found herself inside a tent. A man named Matthias Vogel was there. He told Lara, "I have a daughter too, just like you." Matthias told Lara he couldn't leave the island until his mission was complete. When she checked her bag, he revealed that he had taken Richard's diary. He now had everything he needed. He admitted they had captured her father, but when Richard refused to help, they were forced to kill him. Lara was devastated. Her father was really gone. Outside the tent, she saw workers using explosives to bring down parts of the mountain. Meanwhile, Lara was being marched away as a prisoner. While being led away, Lara noticed that Lu had also been captured and was being forced to work. Matthias ordered everyone to move to another site. On the way, Lu explained to Lara that most of the workers were either fishermen, whose boats had wrecked, or people who got trapped by smugglers. Lara told him that Matthias had killed her father. Not long after, Lu learned from the workers that his father had been killed too. Lara turned to him and apologized. Lara apologized for dragging Lu into such a dangerous mission. With the help of Richard's diary, Matthias located the entrance to Queen Himiko's tomb. All the workers, including Lara and Lu, were forced to help clear the entrance path. An old man collapsed from exhaustion. A guard shouted at him, "Get up and keep working!" Lara and Lu stepped in to defend the man and confronted the guard. Suddenly, Matthias showed up and shot the old man. In the chaos, Lu threw a pickaxe at the guard, giving Lara a chance to escape. As she ran away, one man, just as a guard was about to shoot, Lu attacked him at the last second and saved Lara. Lu tried to chase after him, but Matthias shot him in the arm. Lara reached a hillside and attempted to cross a fallen tree, but the ongoing gunfire caused her to fall into the river. She struggled to stay afloat and, near a waterfall, managed to grab onto the wing of a crashed airplane and climb up. But the wrecked plane couldn't handle her weight. It started to break apart. Lara rushed toward the main body of the plane and leaped inside just before the wing snapped off. But the entire plane started collapsing and eventually got wedged between two cliffs. By sheer luck, she found an old parachute. As she fell, she managed to deploy it. She crash-landed in the jungle, but a sharp tree branch stabbed into her abdomen. Crying out in pain, she pulled it out and crawled to a nearby cave to take shelter for the night. While she was resting, Lara heard something and went outside to check. Suddenly, a man named Rocket, one of Matthias's henchmen, grabbed her. She bit his arm to break free and fought back with everything she had. But Rocket overpowered her and slammed her to the ground again. He started choking her. In desperation, Lara grabbed a rock and smashed it against his head. Then she shoved his face into the mud, suffocating him until he died. Lara was shaken. This was the first time she had killed someone. Then, through the darkness, Lara spotted a figure and began following him without hesitation. She saw the man climbing up a hill, and when she got closer, she realized it was her father, Richard. Richard couldn't believe his eyes. He thought it was just a vision. There was no way his daughter could be here. But Lara reassured him she was real. Richard's eyes welled up with tears as he asked, "What are you doing here?" Seeing her injuries, he carefully bandaged her wounds and told her to rest. He made a promise. He promised her, "This time, I'll never leave you alone again." The next day, the workers finished clearing the way to Himiko's tomb. Matthias made a mysterious call. When Lara woke up, she found Richard shaving, and she helped him. He told her that leaving her had been the hardest thing he'd ever done, but because of Himiko's curse, he could never leave the island. He revealed that Matthias worked for the Trinity organization, and that Richard had to stop him from reaching Himiko at all costs. Then he asked Lara, "Did you burn all my research?" Lara told Richard that she hadn't destroyed his research. That made Richard very anxious, but Lara explained that if she had burned it, she never would have found him. When Richard realized Matthias had his diary, he was furious. Lara, however, stayed calm. She didn't care about all that. Richard warned her this wasn't a game. If Himiko's tomb was opened, it could doom the entire world. Lara made up her mind. They would escape using Matthias's satellite phone. There was no way they could take on an entire army alone. Lara grabbed a bow and arrow and sprinted toward Matthias's camp. She snuck into his tent, staying hidden. But soon Matthias returned, so she had to quickly hide. He got a message saying his superior was on the way, but he still hadn't received the entrance codes. Lara slipped out of the tent and spotted Lou. She took down the guard who was keeping watch over the workers, and instructed the workers to arm themselves while she went to steal Matthias's satellite phone. The moment Matthias stepped out, Lara rushed into the tent and successfully stole the satellite phone. Just then she noticed Richard walking toward the tomb. Matthias spotted him too and quickly captured him, beginning to torture him for answers. He was desperate to complete the mission and get back to his family. But Richard warned him, if the tomb is opened, no one, not even his family, would survive. When Matthias realized Richard wasn't going to talk, he ordered a guard to shoot him. But before the guard could pull the trigger, Lara shot him down. Lara aimed her bow at Matthias, but he had already aimed his gun at Richard. Matthias knew Lara didn't believe in the whole end-of-the-world prophecy, so he wanted her to persuade her father to open the tomb. After thinking it over, Lara made a choice. She had just reunited with her father, and she wasn't about to lose him again. She told them, "I know how to open it." Just like she had earlier solved the ancient puzzle during her journey, she turned the wheels on the tomb door exactly the same way, and the entrance crashed open. Lara, Richard, Matthias, and his entire crew stepped into the tomb. As they entered, a powerful gust of wind rushed past. Richard believed it was the breath of Himiko. Matthias scoffed, saying no human breath could be that intense. Then by accident, Lara stepped on a pressure plate. A spear shot up from the ground and instantly killed a guard. They continued forward and reached a deep chasm filled with human bones, the final resting place of those who had perished long ago. They climbed down a ladder to go deeper. Suddenly, one of the guards accidentally stepped on a trigger, and the round stone doors slammed shut, trapping them all inside. The floor beneath them began to crack and collapse. Lara spotted a guard still outside, peeking through the peephole. She tried to use the wheel-shaped mechanisms on the wall like keys to unlock the door, but just then, the floor beneath her gave way too. Lara barely managed to grab hold of the door and hang on. Still, she struggled with all her might to open it, but the door refused to open. Then Lara recalled the puzzle from the entrance and realized she needed to combine the yellow and red wheels to form a green one. As soon as the green light appeared, the door unlocked. Behind it, they found broken and decayed tombs, the final resting places of Himiko's loyal maidens, who had remained in service even after death. Everything matched exactly what Richard had described in his diary. That's when a chill ran through Lara. Maybe the curse was real after all. At last they reached Himiko's tomb. Richard pleaded with Matthias not to open it, that it would be a terrible mistake. But Matthias ignored him completely. The guards pried open the sarcophagus, revealing Himiko's corpse inside. Suddenly, Himiko opened her eyes, and her body began to rot before their eyes. Lara noticed something odd. The tomb's murals didn't depict Himiko as a monster. That's when she remembered the earlier puzzle. It had said that in order to gain eternal life, Himiko had to die, and anyone who touched her would die instantly. Lara tried to warn the guards not to touch Himiko. She finally understood. Himiko had sacrificed herself to stop the spread of a deadly curse. But the guards ignored her, and the moment they touched the corpse, Himiko sat up. Matthias thought it was some kind of theatrical scare tactic. But then one of the guard's hands began turning black, and his skin started to rot. It became clear. Himiko's body was infected with a lethal virus. She had entombed herself to keep it from spreading to others. The infected guard's body began to rot rapidly. In panic, he opened fire and accidentally killed another guard who had also touched the corpse. Matthias then shot the infected guard himself. Even after witnessing all this, Matthias planned to cut off Himiko's finger to deliver it to his boss. As he did so, Lara grabbed an axe and attacked the last standing guard. Meanwhile, Richard picked up a fallen guard's gun and shot Matthias in the leg. As Lara fled toward the exit, the wounded guard limped after her, determined to stop her. Richard was told to leave, but he refused to let Himiko's finger leave the island. If it did, the virus could spread across the world. Matthias opened fire on Richard but quickly ran out of bullets. Just then, one of the infected guards reanimated and attacked Richard. While Richard was distracted, Matthias made his escape. Richard managed to shoot the infected guard, but it was too late. The guard had touched him, and now the virus was inside Richard too. Trying to slow the infection, Richard tied a cloth around his arm to restrict the blood flow. Lara quickly hid in one of the maidens' tombs, but she accidentally stepped on a bone, the crack giving away her position. The weight of both her and the guard caused the tomb to collapse, sending them both tumbling into a hidden chamber below. Lara spotted a pressure trigger and jumped onto it, causing sharp wooden spikes to rain down. One of the spikes impaled the guard, killing him instantly. Lara hurried back to Himiko's tomb, but Richard warned her to stay away. He was infected now too. Richard told Lara to go stop Matthias. He would set fire to Himiko's tomb in the meantime. Lara desperately wanted to save her father, but he had already accepted his fate. "To me," Richard said, "just seeing my daughter again is everything." With tears in her eyes, Lara grabbed her weapon and said a final goodbye. Matthias was crossing a pit full of bones. Lara leapt across, landing in front of him and blocking his path. She kicked him, throwing him back. But Matthias wasn't ready to give up that easily. They fought fiercely, grappling and striking. Matthias grabbed Lara by the neck, but she managed to break free and knock him down. She couldn't let him leave this place no matter what, so she collapsed the staircase. Matthias picked up an axe and swung it at her. He slammed her to the ground, gripping her throat tightly. Just then, Richard detonated the explosives, destroying Himiko's tomb. The blast distracted Matthias. Lara seized the moment, kicked him hard, and shoved the bag carrying Himiko's finger into his mouth. The virus had now infected Matthias too. Lara kicked Matthias into the pit, and he vanished into the darkness. The tomb began to collapse, so Lara scrambled up the wall to escape. From above, Lou spotted her and helped pull her to safety. They saw Trinity's helicopters nearby and forced the pilots to fly them home. Back in London, Lara signed the documents that officially declared her father dead, making her the rightful heir to his company. Anna told her she could now run the business, but Lara replied, "I'm not interested." In the end, Lara bought back the necklace that once belonged to